You can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Brad Tavares takes on Gerald Meerschaert this Saturday on the main card of UFC Fight Night. And this is your classic striker versus grappler matchup. Battle of the 37-year-old guys, 37-year-old men. Gerald Meerschaert coming off of a loss to Rainier de Ridder, where he made it very competitive, much more competitive than I thought it was going to be. Rainier de Ridder kind of, won that one by the skin of his teeth in the third round, the arm triangle choke. Before that, got a choke over Edmund Shabazian, and before that, Brian Barberina for some reason at 185 pounds. So good win. Shabazian's looked really good as of late. He had a really good performance over Rainier de Ridder, who's also a very high-level grappler, and then lost to Andre Petroski by split decision, which is not the best look. I'm not very high on Andre Petroski, but knocked out by Joe Pyfer, guillotine choke Bruno Silva. So very 50-50 in his career. He's always dangerous, decent on the feet, tough dude, can take a punch for the most part, but his real specialty is getting fights to the ground, and he really kind of struggles if he can't get it there. So Brad Tavares, more of a striker, very good leg kicks, heavy hands, also kind of a 50-50 career, if I'm going to be honest, coming off of a loss to Jun Young Park, which isn't a bad loss. Split decision, you could argue he won. Jun Young Park's a good fighter, a lot of good wins in his career, some split decisions, lost to Gregory Rodriguez and Anthony Hernandez, but those guys are very high levels, so no shame in that one. Got knocked out by Gregory Rodriguez, but again, Rodriguez is very good. Was on a tear before he kind of gassed the Kennedy in his last fight. Beat Weidman, lost to Bruno Silva, which isn't a good look. So a lot of these guys, I looked at their records and I'm like, you guys were really good at one point in time, but now you're 37 years old, and I'm looking at your records now, and it's just, there's a lot of red flags. Did go to a decision with Dricus du Plessis, did beat Omari Akhmedov, Antonio Carlos Jr., lost to Edmund Shabazian, Israel Adesanya. I mean, these guys have been fighting for the longest time. Brad Tavares has been in the UFC since 2010. Was on the Ultimate Fighter back in 2010. So tons of experience on these guys' ends, but I gotta go with Brad Tavares. I think he's going to be able to keep it on the feet. And if he can keep it on the feet, I think he's going to do enough to outpoint Gerald Meerschaert. Gerald Meerschaert, again, no slouch on the feet. He's just obviously more of a specialist and relies on the fight getting to the ground. But, Brad Tavares has 80% takedown defense. He's a much better striker, much heavier kicker, more finishing potential on the feet. And I think if it does go to the ground, I think he'll be able to kind of stay safe. He's never been finished on the ground. All of his losses are by TKO or decision. So I don't see Gerald Meerschaert TKOing him. And if he does, he needs to retire. And I don't see Gerald Meerschaert just being able to take him down and control him on the ground. I just don't see that. I think Brad Tavares is very athletic, very strong, and I think that he'll be able to get a lot of respect on the feet with his striking, and be able to keep it there the entire fight. Maybe he gets taken down, but I think he'll be able to stay, mostly safe on the feet and keep it there. Gerald Meerschaert is 6'1" with a 77.5-inch reach, and Brad Tavares is 6'1" with a 74.5-inch reach. So gonna have a 3.5-inch reach disadvantage, but I don't put a lot of salt in that. I think that he'll be fine. Fighting out of Extreme Couture, gonna have Eric Nixick in his corner, great camp, and but Gerald Meerschaert fighting out of Kill Cliff. So I do think that this fight is rather close. I feel like Gerald Meerschaert, he can beat anybody on any given day in the UFC. That's just how crafty he is as a competitor and a vet, and with his submission game. And he's been in the UFC since 2016 as well, with a lot of good wins. Only losing to pretty good competition, really high level competition. So, but I got to go with Brad Tavares. I think that he's got more finishing potential on the feet, and I think he can keep it there. And if he doesn't get the knockout, I think he'll do enough damage to get a decision. So, Brad Tavares is minus 250 favorite over Gerald Meerschaert. I would agree with that. I think he's got a solid chance at winning this fight. But again, Gerald Meerschaert, you're only one mistake from him latching up something and getting the finish. So I'm gonna go with Brad Tavares. Gerald Meerschaert, just he's shown a propensity to get chinned. He has been knocked out by Pyfer. We all remember his knockout against Chimaev, knocked out by Ian Heinisch. just been hurt and dropped a lot as well too. So I'm gonna go with Brad Tavares to get this one done by decision. Thanks.